What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22. Last time out we had the Spanish Grand Prix and it went surprisingly well. It wasn't like result wise particularly good, but the pace looked pretty good. We were actually battling with some of the cars around us and we could keep some drivers behind for a lap or two. Well, actually we kept I think we kept the likes of Vettel behind for 5 or 6 laps, and Ricciardo we actually started pulling away from after a while. So yeah, the pace was decent. It wasn't amazing, but it was certainly better than most race weekends. Now here in Monaco, I have been saying for many videos previously that I think the potential for us to have some strong pace here, perhaps challenge some of the cars around us, I think that's kind of something that we could potentially be aiming for here, on account of the fact that we're fast through the corners and slow through the straights. That's kind of been our sort of modus operandi so far, and so having the potential to have a track that is primarily corners, I think could potentially serve us well. I'm not saying we'll score points or anything like that, but the good thing about Monaco is that if you get yourself into an advanced position, you can usually stay there and hold it. I'm not going to show you anything from practice, we'll just get straight into it. As you'll see, my tyre wear is slightly over expected, and also my lap times were far down on what they wanted me to do. And here you see that I struggled a bit. Granted, my fastest times were on the medium tyres, and Lundgaard was on the soft, so I was probably potentially a bit faster than him. And whilst I might have been last in this session, I was thinking, yeah, well, maybe I can still challenge some of the cars around me. If I can get sort of off the back row of the grid or something to that description, that would probably be good. So anyway, now we're just gonna have a look at the development boost that we've applied. Just cutting down on the amount of resource points that we need to buy these new upgrades. And then we'll probably put them on the car eventually, perhaps this weekend, perhaps next, who knows. So yeah, practice not so great, the pace not fantastic, but maybe we'll be able to get through. Maybe there'll be a little bit of chaos up front, you never know, anything can happen in a race like this. So we just got to bide our time, and it'll be like Miami, where we just got to kind of sit and wait and hope and see what happens. Have a quick change out of the ICE because that's getting a little bit worn, and I don't want a spontaneous failure in the middle of the race. That would be a certified disaster. Everything else looking good, but I think I might have to change quite a few of these components in the next race weekend or two. So we'll have to consider that when we get to, I believe it's Baku, which is the next one. And yeah, now it's time to get into it for the first qualifying session. Maybe the only qualifying session. It remains to be seen. I think perhaps we have a shot at making it to Q2, but I'll be happy if we, like I said, I'll be happy if we're just sort of competitive, maybe ahead of Lundgaard, ahead of a few of the other cars, maybe the Williams or the Aston Martins. That would be nice. So here we are, starting my first flying lap now. Go through Sandoval, go a little bit wide. I never really know how to take that corner. I feel like I need to watch a track guide on this circuit, because I feel like some of these corners I take quite slowly compared to some of the people I see playing this game. But Monaco is, I'm not ashamed to say that this has always been one of my worst tracks. You see, I take that hairpin a little bit sharply, and then as we go on the run down to Portier, I'm already thinking to myself, well, this lap is easily improvable, so shouldn't be the end of the world. Nicholas Latifi does a 1:14.4, so that's going to be sort of the benchmark for me, potentially to beat. And then Sebastian Vettel goes like a second faster than that, and then Ocon goes even faster. And by this point I was kind of realising that maybe my pace was not fantastic, because I did 1:15s in practice, so I'm feeling like maybe like a 1:13 would probably be what I'm looking at here, but I don't know. Come up to the line, and it's a 1:13.6 for now, and I thought that was a pretty decent lap time. We're only 2/10 off Vettel, and a little bit of improvement probably wouldn't do us any harm. So here we are coming around for our second flying lap, and as we go to start it, you see Verstappen and Norris have crashed out of the session. So I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah, it means we have to slow massively down, and it means that we're probably going to end up blocking Latifi, which means we've definitely out-qualified him, which is nice. So yeah, now we're going around on our second lap, and you'll see quite quickly as my delta goes negative that the track evolution is very strong on this track, because I didn't feel like I was driving particularly better than I drove on the previous lap, and yet I was just getting a lot more traction out of the corners. You know, I could get the car turned in way faster, all that kind of stuff. So I was, you know, I was pretty confident that there was some track evolution that was happening here. You know, I was already 3/10 up by this point, and I know that obviously I didn't do everything perfectly to begin with, but being 3/10 up at the very beginning of like your lap is pretty decent. But as we come to the line, I lost a little bit of time, and in the end we improved by 2/10, and that time is good enough for P20. So not fantastic, but you know, I stayed ahead of Latifi, which is what I was happy about. And yeah, we'll have a look and see what happened in the end. All these cars around me doing like 1:12.2s. I'm like, what the hell? Like, a little bit of a glitch there, because Bottas seems to have done a 1:11.9 and been knocked out. Charles Leclerc failed to set a time, which I was a bit confused by. Lundgaard P18, very good by him. But yeah, I feel like Gasly and Tsunoda should have been out looking at these times, and Norris and Bottas probably should have been through. But I don't know, maybe a bit of a glitch. I'm not sure. So yeah, that was a I don't know. It was a bit of a poor qualifying session from myself to only out qualify one driver who I kind of disrupted his run anyway. So I probably could have been on the back of the grid if not for that. But we'll see. Perhaps we can do something in the race if we can challenge into Sandoval, then perhaps we can have a good start, get ahead of a couple of cars, and you know, just settle into a natural rhythm, and then allow the cars in front of us to kind of fall off from the rest of the race. But we'll have to wait and see. You know, Monaco, anything can happen in Monaco. We could have chaos, we could have drama, we could have controversy. It could be boring, you know, it could just be a complete procession for the whole 39 laps. But we'll have to wait and see. First of all, we're going to do some R&D. We're going to put these stators on the car, which are going to come on in time for I believe the British Grand Prix after Canada. And then we're also going to do this rear downforce upgrade, which yeah will help us to just be a little bit faster in the straights. All those downforce upgrades and stuff like that are gonna help us to yeah, be faster in the straights and also through like high speed corners. So that's gonna be it's gonna be really pivotal for us if we want to catch up in this development race. And I'll let Crofty take over for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill, past the casino, and then descend towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of 19 corners, and don't expect to see much overtaking here today. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Perez, Kevin Magnussen and Fernando Alonso, Mick Schumacher, Ocon, Joe and Daniel Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Vettel, Pierre Gasly and Bottas, Norris, Albon, Lance Stroll and Robinson, Latifi, Leclerc, Lundgaard, they've taken a grid penalty, and Max Verstappen completes the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
So, Russell on pole, eh? And also, Lundgaard and Verstappen took grid penalties, which means that they will be behind me to begin in the race. But someone like Verstappen, I'm sure, will probably get ahead quite quickly. And we move into the formation lap. You see all the cars pulling away from me now. Lining up on the grid is going to be imperative here because I have potentially an opportunity to get past Lance Stroll, my rival, and that's going to be it's going to be really important if I want to win this rivalry against him. I'm going to kind of need to start scoring some points back over him on race day. I know I didn't out-qualify him on this occasion, but I'm pretty good at out-qualifying him. But then he always gets ahead during the race.
Okay, incredible parking there, nice one. That's going to give you the edge if you can get good launch as the race starts.
Banger parking, and now it's time for the launch in the race. The lights come on, and the lights go out. And it's a decent start. You see, we're already contending with Lance Stroll off of the start. And, he has a bit extra speed. I realised I wasn't using my battery going into the corner, but that's fine. And then I kind of get blocked off by Albon, and Stroll kind of muscles his way into the corner. So, unfortunately, I don't gain that place, and I also lose out to Leclerc as we come up the hill. And now, as we come down the hill, you'll see I'm now being pressured by Max Verstappen, who goes for a bit of a dive bomb, and the front wings are flying there. I think I actually went under my tyre, but I didn't get a puncture, so it was all right. But it's not clear who that was, but I imagine we'll probably see quite quickly. But yeah, we've already been jumped by the two cars behind us, who I thought would have superior pace. So that's to be expected, but it's okay. They're not really who I was battling with anyway. It's these guys behind me, and people like Albon and Stroll ahead, who I was anticipating that I would probably be battling with. So that incident that he was talking about was probably the front wings going flying, and so it was a decent start, all things considered. I know I lost a couple of places and didn't gain the one I wanted to, but I wasn't going to be able to hold these guys behind forever. Even in Monaco, I still am multiple seconds per lap slower than the likes of Verstappen and Leclerc, so it would have been difficult. Leclerc actually peels into the pits there alongside, I believe it was Norris, so clearly some front wing issue or something like that. And then lap 3 we get challenged by Latifi a little bit going into Sandabot, but we just managed to stay ahead of him for now. And meanwhile up the road the likes of Stroll and Verstappen are beginning to pull away a little bit. And then here we are at the end of lap 7 going into the start of lap 8, and you see with DRS and a full battery, Lundgaard is able to pull ahead of us. At some point he actually got ahead of Latifi. So now we're starting to lose positions to the cars around us. You see that the likes of Norris and Leclerc behind are actually catching up as well. And here comes Nicholas Latifi. Unfortunately at this point in the race I was really struggling to keep them behind. I was doing everything I could to hold them off, but I think maybe my tyres had gone off or something like that, not really clear, but I was just suffering a little bit. So now we come down the hill on lap 10 through the run to Portier, and Norris is directly behind me.
Serious damage to the underbody. Repeat, serious damage to the underbody.
And that's when I got informed that things could be better. So what I've been hiding from you for the last 10 laps or so, as I tag that wall and barely make it across the corner, what I've been hiding from you is the fact that the curbs at the the swimming pool chicane and is it the Nouvelle chicane, the other one down at the bottom of the hill, the curbs in those two chicanes are absolutely lethal in this game. And I don't mean like they'll cause you to crash or anything like that, but I mean they will just chip away and chip away and chip away at your underbody, and that is just like. I was just understeering absolutely everywhere now. Like, I had pretty much no no rotation whatsoever. As you see Norris and Leclerc coming into the pits once again. I guess their soft compound tyres have gone off, and I imagine they're probably going to put on a set of hards to the end. Unfortunately for Leclerc, who was hoping to kind of make up some position in this race, as he goes for a move through the tunnel, and we make contact there, and you see that now my underbody is seriously screwed. Trying to make it any worse, he says, as I drive over the curb again and deal more damage to it. And yeah, now the misery, the pain and suffering of this race really begins, because obviously this is a part of your car that you can't fix when you come into the pits. If it was a front wing, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I can't fix the underbody. All I can do is just suffer with it for the next 20 plus laps and hope that my car doesn't get completely totaled. But yeah, it remains to be seen. I stopped it at 0.3, and somehow that was only a good turn-in, so I guess sometimes the game just refuses to give you an optimal turn-in. Because if I left it any later, it would have given me a late, and I'm fairly confident about this. So having pitted now, Norris and Leclerc and everyone else are a long way up the road. And now we're getting warnings about other parts of the body, like the diffuser, which you see is yellow. I'm not sure how that happened. Maybe it was when I made contact with Leclerc. Not really clear. And also, just basically the whole car is a bit, all over the place. And I think at some point he gave me a warning about side pods as well, but for whatever reason that doesn't seem to be coming up. So I don't know. And then I get the notification that Lando Norris has retired from the race, and I'm sure we'll see what happened to him in just a second. As we come around here, down to Raskas, and you see it up at this final corner. He's just pulled off to the side, so I assume it was engine related. But yeah, I'm sure they'll get that cleared up. I was thinking maybe a safety car, if it had happened there, might have brought me back into this race a little bit, at least to avoid the embarrassment of being lapped and whatnot. But yeah, as is, I have to let Hamilton, Sainz and Russell through, so now even a safety car wouldn't save me. Now I am pretty much consigned to being P21. Lundgaard and Latifi are 20-something seconds up the road as we move out the way of Sergio Perez. And yeah, this day's just getting bad. 23 laps and we're already being lapped. Meanwhile, my teammate's 25 seconds up the road, and he's not even having a great race by anyone's standards. This is it's just turning into a bit of an embarrassment as we are on lap 24. We've still got 15 laps to go. It's not going to get any better. And I was thinking to myself when he said that as a problem, I was thinking, please just put me out of my goddamn misery. Let me not have to drive these final 12 laps, and we can just say that I DNF'd, and no one even has to know that things went really badly before that. And that was the end of that. Yeah, unfortunately, well, maybe fortunately. Unfortunately, if I then DNF in a place where I actually have the potential to do well. But yeah, the car was alright, and that meant that we could continue going on. We've got blue flags to the cars behind us, and there's quite a few of them, as you can see. So we're going to move out of the way of Alonso. And then there's a Haas behind us, which I believe is Kevin Magnussen, who we're also going to have to move out of the way of here. And Schumacher now is going to come through as well. And you see Esteban Ocon is also making his way through And then there's a couple more cars behind us as well. So, you know, at the rate we're going, we could potentially get lapped by the entire field. You see Lundgaard and Latifi are like 40 seconds up the road, and there's still 11 laps to go. It's not out of the question if they're sort of, you know, a couple seconds a lap faster, which with my damage, I'm going to be bloody slow. It could happen. It remains to be seen. We got blue flags once again as we tag the inside wall at Portier. And this time it's Zhou Guanyu actually. I thought it was Valtteri Bottas, but it's not. And Ricciardo goes through as well. And now we've already been lapped by 10 cars in this race, and there's still more than 10 laps remaining. And yeah, this is only going to continue as we continue through the race. Here we are on lap 32, and once again we've had more cars catch up to the back of us. Lundgaard now 45 seconds up the road. And here goes Vettel. And here goes Valtteri Bottas, and that is 12 cars who have now lapped us in this race. At this point, I was kind of just waiting and seeing if all of them would lap me. I'm obviously, you know, putting in proper laps. I'm not gonna sacrifice my own pace for the sake of letting these guys, you know, lap me just so I can say I got lapped by the entire field. Verstappen, who I was battling with at the start of the race, he now goes through. The situation is pretty dire at this point. I think next up is Albon, who's about to come through. And then we have a couple more cars who are going to be catching up to us soon. I believe it's Stroll possibly next, our rival. That's going to be embarrassing. Who do I say was my rival? Lance Stroll. And now he's lapping me, along with Leclerc and Gasly and Tsunoda. So that's 18 cars, and now the only cars in the race that haven't lapped me are Latifi and Lundgaard. So yeah, if they can catch up in these last few laps, then maybe I can get lapped by the entire field. But here you see I've got blue flags, not to Latifi or Lundgaard, but actually to George Russell once again, who we're going to have to slow down to get out of the way of. And then I pick up the pace when he goes through, but Carlos Sainz was anticipating I would have stayed out of the way, so I have to quickly get out of his way. And yeah, that is a double lapping in a 50% distance race by the two front runners. I think we managed to just get away with not having Hamilton overtake us, but this race has been miserable. That's how I describe it. It's Monaco misery. I really am speechless. I thought this race was going to go decently. I thought maybe it would go badly because I'm never particularly good around Monaco. I did not think it would go this badly. I was really confident I would have at least some kind of pace around here, and I was really, really disappointed with how things turned out. And as we round the final corner, as we come up to the line, it is going to be another P21.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
All I can hope is that we bounce back soon.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. What do you think it was today, Ants, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions, and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
Well, Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
So, Russell takes his first victory in Formula 1 as Sainz comes home P2, and Lewis Hamilton completes the podium. So it's another double podium for Mercedes, and they're really starting to be a factor in this season, huh? Like, I think they're probably more competitive than Red Bull at the moment, based on based on how their performance has been. I mean, that's a win for Russell, and I don't think there's been any wins for the Red Bulls. I think it's been Ferrari every race so far.
Let's take a look at the driver's standings. Carlos Sainz manages to take control of the championship, securing the top spot with today's points. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
Let's move on to the constructors. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, I can't wait either. But we really need a good result now if we wanna challenge the likes of Williams and Aston Martin in the championship. I really don't want to finish rock bottom of the championship, and we're gonna probably need a points finish. There they are. Gosh, I was wondering where all the cars were. Yeah, this is not going to be a fun highlights segment, so I'm probably just going to talk about my feelings over the top of it. You know, my lack of pace around here, I've heard reports of lots of people struggling. I've heard reports of lots of people playing on AI difficulties they used to play on and finding that suddenly the game was much harder than they were used to it being. So I'm wondering if they've buffed the AI for this year's game, in which case I might have to drop the AI a little bit. But I'll keep it as is for now. I'll probably just adhere to the rule I was talking about earlier, where I'll drop it if I lose a rivalry and up it if I win a rivalry, and then we'll be able to see what my actual like performance is like compared to these cars, and try and fine tune a difficulty I should be playing on, because obviously I don't just want to be pootling around at the back every single race, but I do have the potential to compete with these cars, even around some tracks where I wasn't expecting, like Spain, for example. Spain is not a track I usually go particularly well at, so to do well there was a bit shocking to me, and you know, I think it shows that the car has more pace in it than what I thought it had. It's just a matter of extracting it, but unfortunately, I didn't really have the skill to extract any pace from the car here in Monaco. It was a skill issue, I guess you could say. But also this track is just like even harder than it was historically. Although that said, I actually was driving this in. I'm doing a driver career offline, and I was driving this in F2 last night, and it really wasn't too bad. Like, my pace wasn't fantastic around it, but I was able to, you know, take home like points finishes and stuff like that. So, and also I wasn't doing any damage to the car or anything like that. So yeah, it was a bit surprising just how bad this was in comparison to that. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's just one race. Next up is Baku, which is a track I always go well at. But yeah, Lance Stroll, I'm pretty sure, unless we have a miracle, he's won this rivalry now. I wasn't expecting to get this battered, but I guess it happens. And Lundgaard is slowly moving towards becoming even more expensive than he already was. But such is life. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Like I said, next up is Azerbaijan, which is a track that I love. It's one of my strongest circuits. No money, but that's fine. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe. Check out my my TikTok and whatnot. And hopefully I will see you in the next one.